Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. A white South Carolina police officer has been charged with murder after a video showed him shooting an apparently unarmed African-American man who was running away. The shooting happened Saturday morning after North Charleston police officer Michael Slager stopped Walter Scott for a broken brake light. Slager is seen shooting at Scott 8 times as he runs away. Walter Scott's brother, Anthony, said his family's grateful for the witness who came forward with the shooting video.
And from the beginning, when it happened the first day, all we wanted was the truth. And I think through the process, we've received the truth. And we can't get my brother back, and my family is in deep mourning for that. But through the process of justice has been served. And I don't think that all police officers are bad cops, but there are some bad ones out there. And I don't want to see anyone get shot down the way that my brother got shot down.
The North Charleston Police Department had initially defended Officer Slager after he said he feared for his life and claimed Scott had taken his taser weapon. But video showed Slager shot Walter Scott in the back at a distance of about 15 feet. The video also appears to capture Slager planting an object next to Scott. The video does not appear to show Scott in possession of the officer's stun gun at any time. Walter Scott was a father of 4 who served 2 years in the U.S. Coast Guard. We'll go to South Carolina after headlines. The U.S. is expediting weapons shipments to aid Saudi Arabia's military campaign in Yemen. Deputy Secretary of State Tony Blinken made the announcement during a visit to the Saudi capital of Riyadh.
Saudi Arabia is sending a strong message to the Houthis and their allies that they cannot overrun Yemen by force. In support of that effort, we have expedited weapons deliveries, we've increased our intelligence sharing, and we've established a joint coordination and planning cell in the Saudi Operations Center.
The Pentagon, meanwhile, is warning al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula has seized the opportunity and made direct gains on the ground as a result of Yemen's internal violence. AQAP fighters reportedly seized a border post near Saudi Arabia Tuesday. The UN has warned more than 100,000 people have been displaced since Saudi airstrikes began last month. President Obama's rejected Israel's demand that a final nuclear agreement include Iran's recognition of Israel's self-declared right to exist as a Jewish state. Speaking to NPR, Obama said the Iran deal is not a sweeping political accord.
The notion that we would condition Iran not getting nuclear weapons in a verifiable deal on Iran recognizing Israel is really akin to saying that we won't sign a deal unless the nature of the Iranian regime completely transforms. And that is, I think, a fundamental misjudgment.
The White House is backing off its move deeming Venezuela a national security threat to the United States. An executive order signed by President Obama last month used the designation to sanction top Venezuelan officials. But speaking to reporters Tuesday, White House advisor Benjamin Rhodes said, quote, "The United States does not believe Venezuela poses some threat to our national security." The statement comes as President Obama prepares for a regional trip that includes a summit of the Organization of American States in Panama. Venezuelan officials say they'll present Obama with a petition of millions of signatures calling on President Obama to rescind the order. The Panama summit will also include Cuba for the first time. The State Department said Tuesday it expects to remove Cuba from the terror list. In Washington, State Department spokesperson Marie Harf said the summit could see high-level meetings, including between President Obama and Cuban President Raul Castro.
We expect there may be at the upcoming Summit of the Americas. The schedule is not quite confirmed yet, but we will let folks know as we are able to do so. Nothing to confirm at this point, but there's a chance that there will be.
A new report shows the federal government secretly tracked billions of U.S. phone calls years before the 9/11 attacks. According to USA Today, the Justice Department and Drug Enforcement Administration collected bulk data for phone calls to dozens of countries deemed to have a connection with drug trafficking. The program served as a blueprint for the NSA's mass surveillance. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel has won re-election in a hard-fought runoff against challenger Chuy Garcia. Emanuel defeated Garcia with a margin of around 55% to Garcia's 44%. Emanuel celebrated his victory Tuesday night.
Good fortune to serve two presidents. I've had the fortune of being elected to Congress. Being mayor of the city of Chicago is the greatest job I've ever had and the greatest job in the world. I am humbled at the opportunity to continue to serve you, the greatest city, with the greatest people for the next 4 years.
Rahm Emanuel raised $23 million for the campaign, more than 3 times Garcia's $6 million. We'll have more on this story later in the broadcast. Kansas has become the first state in the country to ban a common procedure used during second-trimester abortions. On Tuesday, Republican Governor Sam Brownback signed the law based on model legislation from the Anti-Choice National Right to Life Committee, which bans doctors from using instruments to remove a fetus in pieces. It allows exceptions only to save a woman's life or prevent irreversible damage to a major bodily function. Julie Burkhart, founder and CEO of Trust Women and the Southwind Women's Center, said the former clinic of slain Dr. George Tiller in Wichita, Kansas, said the law is unconstitutional and dangerous because it bans physicians from, quote, using their sound medical judgment to decide what is best for their patients. Similar measures have already been introduced in Missouri, Oklahoma, and South Carolina. Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky has launched his bid for the Republican presidential nomination in 2016. Paul declared his candidacy at an event in Lexington.
We've come to take our country back from the special interests that use Washington as their personal piggy bank. The special interests that are more concerned with their personal welfare than the general welfare. The Washington machine that gobbles up our freedoms and invades every nook and cranny of our lives must be stopped.
Former Senator Hillary Clinton could be the next 2016 candidate to declare. Last week, Clinton's campaign leased an office in Brooklyn, New York, as its headquarters. And supporters of Mumia Abu-Jamal have released new photos of the imprisoned journalist and former Black Panther, saying he's lost over 50 pounds and is covered with a hard, leathery layer of jet black skin that is bloody, painful, and itchy. Mumia Abu-Jamal is in a prison infirmary in Pennsylvania after he was temporarily hospitalized for diabetic shock. His supporters have demanded he be allowed to see an independent team of specialists chosen by his family. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Nermeen Sheikh. Welcome to our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world.